Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. As I'm your host, Ed, dive deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And I wanted to make this video. I was thinking about making it short, but I think there's other points I can expand to when talking about this. Sometimes the best teams are just going to win. Understand with the NIL in college and how we see that thriving over the last few years with guys staying in college multiple years to making that money and then pursuing other dreams. And this specifically for basketball. It can be applied to football too as well, since they're making the most money in basketball, football. Most of the other sports is not really about the money, at least right now. Like that could change in the upcoming years. But I want to focus on basketball since it is the month of March, since it is March Madness. Sometimes the best teams are just going to win. It doesn't come down to NIL money. Like, yeah, some of these teams, a few of these teams, they spent a lot of money to get where they're at, even if they are lower seeded teams or whatever. I forget who it was. They were like an 8th seed this year. And I forget who it is, but yeah, anyways, my point is sometimes the best teams just win because a lot of people are mad that it's not a lot of upsets happening this year. And it's like sometimes it's not going to be a lot of upsets. Like we can't, like every year somebody's going to get upset. There's usually a 12 upset in the 5. We always see that. So we do get upsets every first round, but people are hoping for that Cinderella run, that lower seeded team to go on a deep run. But because that lower seeded team is a 9 seed this year, people aren't praising it because they're not in between 11 to 14. If it's between 11 and 14, people love it. But if it's 10 or higher, if it's between 7 to, wait, no. Yeah, if it's a 9 or a 10, people don't really care. If they're not considering that a Cinderella because a 9, they're supposed to be, even though a 9 just beat a 1 and Iowa beating Florida, people don't want to consider that a Cinderella because they're a 9 seed, which I find stupid. Iowa outplayed Florida in that game. That's what it came down. They outplayed. They made the game winner because Florida played a really dumb possession defensively. Then on offense, they couldn't get a shot up. Iowa played great defense, closing that game out. So Iowa did what they needed to do to get the win. And that's an upset. A 9 seed beating the 1 is an upset. I don't care what the circumstances is. That's still an upset. And I don't know how you consider it anything else. It's not the Cinderella run that people are hoping for, but every year doesn't need to have a Cinderella run because then it wouldn't feel special. It's supposed to be special when a 16 upsets a 1. UMBC beating Villanova in like 2016. That was a special moment because we didn't expect that. And we're still getting really good games. Duke and Siena. Siena played 5 guys and had Duke on the ropes. And now Duke did have 2 starters down. They had 2 guys injured. So we can't forget about that. But Siena had them on the ropes. And if at least one of their guys gets some rest, Siena probably wins that game versus Duke. So a 16 is still giving them competition. Why do we need a Cinderella run every year if we're going to get a random competitive 116 matchup? Out of all the 116 matchups, nobody expected Siena and Duke to be close. But it was. Siena gave us a great time watching that game and making people believe, oh, they might actually upset Duke. The Boozer brothers might get eliminated first round. It's like, yeah, they got starters out, but at the end of the day, Duke is still the 1 seed. They're still a much better team. Nobody's heard of Siena. Maybe a few people have, but most people watching March Madness have no idea where Siena is located. I still don't know where it's located. So to get that, it's like, okay, we didn't get an upset, but that's still a great game. It's still a story there. It's still something exciting because we just saw Siena almost made history. There's not a lot of 16s upset. A lot of 16 seeds don't upset 1 seeds. Then, like I said, the Iowa-Florida game, Iowa had multiple guys scoring double digits for them. Like I said, played great down the stretch to get the win. Upset number 1 Florida. So Florida is the only 1 seed that didn't advance to the Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken. All the other 1 seeds advanced, if I remember correctly. High Point, like I said, the infamous 12 upsetting the 5. It always happens. Not always, but most of the time, a 12 upsets the 5 seed. And High Point did that. Then after upsetting that 5 seed, they gave Arkansas a tough battle. Arkansas didn't have a fun time playing a High Point. Arkansas started the game 2 of 7 from the field. High Point had them on the ropes too. Now Darius Acuff had a phenomenal game, but Rob Martin he played just as well. He did struggle from 3, but Rob Martin did his thing to keep High Point in the game. And they only lost that by 6. And it wasn't like, oh, we're just trying to get the lead now to make it a lesser deficit. Like, no, they were competing. They were only down 1 at halftime. Arkansas played, they only outscored them by 5 points in that second half. Like, it was what really caused High Point in this game is them struggling from three, because Arkansas, they eventually picked it up, their field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. High Point going 26% from 3, 10 to 38. That's what cost them. If they could have got some better looks or some mid-range looks instead of those threes that they took, maybe this game goes to overtime. Maybe they win this game. So High Point still gave you a really competitive game. Sometimes the better teams are just going to win. Like, we need that. We can't have a Cinderella run every year in college basketball, because I don't think it becomes as special if it's, oh, every year this team is going to do this. Illinois blowing out VCU. VCU had an upset. I forget who they beat, but they had a significant upset. Illinois, 3 seed, VCU, 11 seed. It's a 21-point game. The better team won, and they dominated the game. Of course, you want to see closer games. You want to see it be some type of hype, no matter what the seed is. But the better team won and played like they were the better team. Played like a significant margin of a 3 and 11 playing. Nebraska Vanderbilt. Now that's a 4-5 matchup, very entertaining game, one of the best games at the tournament. So you always get, when it's two teams close, even Arkansas at the High Point, Arkansas 4, High Point 12, it was a really entertaining game, despite there being a different 8 seed difference between the two. Vanderbilt and Nebraska delivered us one of the best games. Texas. It wasn't an 8 seed, it was Texas I was thinking about. People was like, well, Texas can't be considered a Cinderella run because of the NIL money that they paid their athletes, this and that. They beat a team who had 10 more wins than them. Gonzaga finished the season 31-4, and they lost to Texas, who was 21-14. You can talk about the money spent all you want. At the end of the day, Texas beat a team, they were the 11th seed, beat a 6th seed already. Then they beat a 3 seed who had 10 more wins than them. You don't want to consider that a Cinderella run because they paid money? Well, they outplayed a team with 10 more wins. They did that. And they did that shooting 33% from 3. So it's like they didn't have the best game. They still played a well enough game and outplayed Gonzaga in that game to win it. So you had to give them credit. See, now it's a criteria to, because they paid money, it's not a Cinderella. They're only 7 games above 500. That's not something crazy. A lot of these other teams have much better records than that. Even High Point had a better record than that, and they were a lower seed. And that's because of the conference and the conference and its strength of schedule with High Point. So to say that this isn't a Cinderella run is crazy to me. Like, I would consider that the Cinderella run, in my opinion. They're the 11th seed. They might be the highest seed still. I think they're the highest seed still in, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go to 11. Then is it? Yeah, they are the highest seed in. So how come we can't consider Texas a Cinderella run? Because they paid too much money. They probably, aside from them, Iowa at not as a 9 seed, they're only 11 games over 500, which is more than Texas. And then they had a worse record out of the 16 remaining teams. They're the 11th seed. They're playing a team that's 21 games above 500, but you don't want to consider that a Cinderella run. All the NIL money didn't determine how well they played. They were only 21-14. Had to have a play-in game to get to 11, because 11 isn't guaranteed for some reason. You have to play. There's play-in spots for 11 and 16. So Texas had to play until the tournament or now in the Sweet 16. That's a Cinderella run in my books. I don't care how much money they spent. No, at the end of the day, I still don't think every year you got to have a Cinderella run or some special story like Loyola Chicago a few years ago, because it doesn't feel as special if it happens every year. But like I said, sometimes the best teams are just going to win games. Like, you got Purdue 2 seed still in, Nebraska 4 seed, Arkansas 4, Arizona 1, Houston 2, Illinois 3. And then you got Duke 1, Michigan 1. UConn 2, Iowa State 2. So you still got 3 remaining 1 seeds in the Sweet 16 out of the 4 that was originally there. So it's like the best teams just win games sometimes. The best team find ways to win. And I'm not saying that I prefer, like, obviously in March Madness, what I care about, yes, I want to see some upsets, but I really just care about close games. I want to see some close games. I want to see some drama. I want to see I forget if it was Saturday or Sunday. Was it um, uh, Tyler Tanner, him nearly hitting the same shot that he nearly hit earlier in the season. That's what I want to see. We've seen that not once but twice when he nearly hit a half-court game winner. Once in the regular season and went in and out, then once again in the postseason went in and out. That's what I want to see. Close games, drama down the stretch, game winners, epic performances like Madison Booker and women's college basketball having 40. Darius Acuff, what he's been doing throughout the tournament, throughout the SEC tournament, and now March Madness. That's what I want to see. Like upsets, that's cool to see. Yes, I want to see a few, but we don't need to see it every year. It don't got to be some sort of Cinderella run every year. If the 11th seed is the highest that's going to be in the Sweet 16 this year, that's fine. They have the worst record out of the 16 remaining teams. And if they go further, if they beat Purdue, which I don't think they will, but if they beat Purdue, you have to give them credit for that because they still have to play these games. Just because you spent the money doesn't mean your team is going to be great. You still have to work together, still need the chemistry, still need the coaching. And Texas has seemed to figure it out. That's the 11th seed. The only way they won't figure it out is if they get blown out. But if they can keep this game at least close, this is already going to the Sweet 16 in general is a success, especially for a team like Texas with the money that they spent. So they can keep this game close, but still and lose to the higher seed. It's like, okay, you kept the game, you lost, but you kept it close, and this team was significantly better than you for a reason. But if you can win, it's like, damn, this is a big surprise. You outplayed the better team on paper, and through record, through talent, through coaching, whatever. It's like, yeah, a lot of people, it's like, oh, what happened to March Madness? You have a problem because the team that is the Cinderella story for this year is a team that spent money. And the only other team you could pick as a Cinderella is 9 Iowa, which I wouldn't really consider. 9 can't really consider. Well, they did upset a 1, so, but people don't like to consider 9 an upset, even not an upset, but a Cinderella. Even though a 9 beating a 1 is significant, and they could beat a 4, and they only 11 games over 500. So, and it is what it is. Just so, yeah. But like I said, the better teams just win sometimes. And sometimes, like, I like to see that. Like, Duke, even as good as the game as it is, you could tell Duke wasn't taking Siena serious, which is why they almost lost. As a 1 seed, no matter who you're playing, you need to take those games serious. I wanted to see Duke lose because they weren't taking it serious. Cam and Caden Boozer, they did their thing. They were great, especially in the first half. But if you're not taking the game serious, you deserve to lose. And he stepped it up. They picked it up in the second half. But yeah, the whole what happened to the March Madness I love. We're seeing upsets every year. It's 11 in the Sweet 16. We're seeing upsets. It's always going to be an upset each year. Now the number of upsets each year is always going to change. Like it's not going to be, a 15 seed advance, 2 15 seed advance. Like we're not going to see that on a consistent basis. Like next year, maybe a 15 will win. Maybe we get another Duke situation. Or I'm just using them as an example, but maybe Arizona's won again next year, and they're facing I'm trying to think, Buffalo. They're facing Buffalo, and Buffalo gives them a tough contest. Maybe Buffalo upsets them in overtime. Like that's something we're going to see upsets every year. We're going to see close games every year. It's going to be blowouts every year. Nothing has changed. It's a 1 year where it's not no insane upsets. Nothing crazy really happened. Like the most significant thing is 11 advancing and a 9 beating a 1, but it's like nothing crazy really happened. It's like if the better team wins, you have a problem because the better team won. That's what basketball is. Sometimes it comes down to the better team. Like you can argue money all you want. I mean, have we seen the super teams in the NBA in recent years? Spending a lot of money doesn't always work. You can get the top talent, but can you coach that talent and make that a cohesive unit? So I think out of the 16 teams, most of these teams are the best teams remaining. I mean, they're proving it. So the only teams that, like I said, Texas, Iowa, they're the lowest seeded teams left. Let's see what they can do because those are the only Cinderellas on a technical standpoint that are left. Really just Texas because Iowa was a 9. But yeah, nothing happened to March Madness. It's just an anomaly of a tournament where the better teams are winning games. Y'all have a problem. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share.